always had that something in you where you wanted to strive for better. So describe for me, what has your journey been like in life?
The journey it's been very hard because, I was on public assistance, so it was like, at first it was a boundary there. Anybody knows about public assistance, they don't want you to go so far, or they're gonna cut it off.
When you describe yourself now, tell me, who's Freddie Stevenson, the man that you are now?
A few years ago, I remember in college, they would always have speakers come in and ask us who we are. I wouldn't have been able to answer the question. It probably would have had something to do with football, or fullback for Florida State, I want to play in the NFL. But now it's just simple. I'm Freddie Stevenson, man of purpose.
This is a passion of mine. The whole premise behind the Jazzie Conversations with Jazz podcast is to spotlight the fact that it is now time for you to get your dope comeback story.
Hey, say Jazzie Conversations with Jazz. Jazzie Conversations with Jazz. Say Jazzie Conversations with Jazz. Jazzie Conversations with Jazz.
Every Monday, I call people into a studio and we dig into their comeback stories, because I know that we see people in their glory and we see people when they're on top, when they can have that silver lining to them, but we all go through some things, right? We all go through some things, and I think once we're real with people and we let people know the trials and tribulations that we've gone through, it only makes us human and it connects one of us.
So I just want to know, what would be your advice to someone who is looking to start their own podcast?
First and foremost, let me back up. Find your voice. What are you going to talk about? Is it something that people want to listen to? How long will your podcast be? What's going to be the consistency of your podcast? Are you going to do it like weekly, daily? Are you going to do it monthly? So once you find that, because that's going to indicate if somebody wants to listen to your podcast or not. I do know how I'm doing it. I'm doing it with God. I'm doing it because this is a passion of mine. And when you are passionate about something, you're not going to stop. So it really it comes down to how bad do you want it. I want to say welcome to episode 131 of the Jazzie Conversations with Jazz podcast. I am your host, Jasmar Jazz Bennett, mother, educational leader, host, and so much more. And I have a way that you can be a part of my Jazzie crew with a live studio audience for episode, I don't know what episode we will be on, but we will be on the 3-year podcast anniversary live show for the Jazzie Conversations with Jazz podcast. I really would love to see you in the building. I want to see you in the place on November 9th, 2024 here in Lakeland, Florida. Ticket sales will drop really soon, and so I want to see you in the audience. Happy Monday, Jazzie crew. It is a phenomenal Monday. You know, the elections are going on all around us, and I want to make sure that I spotlight some of those candidates that are running for office. And so I do want to just welcome you, because, I hope you have reset your goals. I know that you've reset your focus and you are going to crush new goals that are very important this week, this month. Let's make August a great month. I need for you to make sure that you are following me on all of my social media platforms. It's very simple. Is as simple as following and subscribing and liking and sharing and tagging people to the page. That's at Jazzie Conversations with Jazz. That's Jazzie Conversations with Jazz on Facebook, IG, and on YouTube Live. You can also catch episodes on your favorite podcast platform. I would love for you to be a member of my Jazzie crew. And so over here, we believe in the power of the comeback. I believe that you can come back from anything with God, the right resources, the willingness to do the necessary work. But when you get those resources, you got to make sure that you know how to use those resources effectively. All right. So if you are tuned in, I want to see where you are looking from. I want to see where you are listening from. So in the comment section, just give us a hi, say that you are here, you're catching the live version. I want you to go ahead and share this with your family, your friends, your coworkers, because this is a phenomenal episode that we are about to embark on. You guys know that I am a true diehard daddy's girl. My father passed away almost 4 years ago, and I am still his little girl, right? The importance of dads has been instrumental in the work that I do in the educational field. When we have our dads bring your daughters or your kids to work day, that is like my favorite event to orchestrate and to facilitate. I absolutely love it. The statistics behind an involved dad are staggering when it comes to your child's success. And I know that we're going to learn all about that from the gentleman that I have on my podcast for this episode. I have not one, not two, but I have three guests that I am going to bring on right now. And so as they are populating, I want to tell them happy Monday, because hopefully they love Mondays just as much as I do. And so without further ado, look at you guys with your shirts on. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So I want to just say hello to all three of these fatherhood coaches. I want to say hi to Raymond Clay, first and foremost, and then we'll move to just wave so they'll know who you are. Hey, Ray. And then we're moving to Shaderrick Bradford. Hi, sir. How are you doing, Mr. Bradford? Thank you for being a special guest for episode 131. And last but not least, Mr. Austin Bulter. How are you, sir? Doing good, doing good. I hope you guys, can you guys hear me? Well, you can't hear me because I saw you wave your hand.
Yeah.
And so I just want to say thank you for taking this opportunity. Thank you for reaching out to the podcast to get your message across. Raymond knows how important and how much I value a father's role in their child's life. And before we get into the meat of this discussion, if you guys would do me a favor, if you guys would please go ahead and introduce yourselves, and then we'll circle back and talk about Team Dad and Dad Mode. Raymond, let's go first.
My name is Ray Clay. I'm the fatherhood coach, number 2. So I'm here with Jazz now to be able to introduce y'all and tell y'all more information about Team Dad and Dad M.O.D.E. And I think that's very important for our community as well, too.
Thank you so much, Raymond. All right, Shaderrick, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Actually, my name is Shaderrick Bradford.
Shaderrick. I've been saying it wrong in my head the entire time. This is why I always ask for the phonetic spelling.
Okay.
Shaderrick. I do apologize, Mr. Shaderrick. Go ahead.
Like you said, I'll be working alongside Ray, and just to help the community out.
Thank you so much for being on the show tonight. And then last but not least, Austin.
How y'all doing? I'm a fatherhood coach as well, along with Shaderrick and Ray. And I'm here and I'm part of the team. I'm just excited to be able to spread this message. So good.
Thank you also for being here. So I wanted to just dive into the two initiatives that you guys have brought to my attention. And I'm so glad that they are here, not only in Polk County, but is it Hardee County? And then what other counties do we serve as well?
So there's actually, it's a statewide program. So it actually covers all 67 counties have a fatherhood team or Team Dad initiative inside of it. So it was actually started by our governor. And once he started the program, he funded a bunch of money so that all Healthy Starts and Department of Health will actually be able to give out money to other organizations to do a Team Dad program or some type of dad program to the community. So it's throughout all 67 counties in the state of Florida.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for explaining the particulars of the initiatives. And so talk to me about you being a dad. You guys are fatherhood coaches. All three of you are fathers, correct?
Correct.
All right. Austin, tell me about being a dad. Tell me about your kids and what is it that you like the most about being a dad?
I mean, there's so many wonderful things. I I love to be an example to my kids, and so I have a 9-year-old son and a 2-year-old daughter. We've all in it's been a bumpy road along the way, but if there's one thing I can say as a father, that it's not your situation that defines you. It's what you do with that. It's what you do with everything that's been given you. So what the most rewarding thing as a father for me is just being able to see my kids,
Yeah.
being able to hold them, being able to be present, no matter how much time that is, just present for them in that moment every time I get to see them.
Absolutely, absolutely. If I had to speak with your 9-year-old, what would your 9-year-old say that they love the most about you? What do you think they value the most with you?
Ooh, I'd probably say time.
Yeah.
Time. Um, our time together is really important. I get my son every other weekend, so every little time we get together is absolutely precious because I mean he's 9 years old. It's not going to be too long before he's not going to want to hang out with dad. It's not going to be too long before he's too cool for school. He ain't going to be one to sit around playing games or doing things with me. He's going to be having friends of his own. So quality time is definitely number one.
Absolutely. I can tell you as a mother, that time thing is so critical to me. A lot of people sometimes think when parents aren't together or when you co-parent, like the most essential thing is when is the check coming in? Like how much is he paying for child support? And I don't know if I used to throw people off with what I would say, but I would say, listen, you know, and not even people, but just with him, I would just be like, listen, spend time with them. Like I'm in the school system, have been for over 20 years. And what I do know, and especially not even just with boys, but with girls and boys, but that time with any parent is what they're going to remember. They're not going to remember you buying them the most expensive thing in the store, taking them on the most expensive trip. They're going to remember how you made them feel. And so I'm so glad that you said time, because that time is very critical. And I can just see my kids light up whenever they spend time with me or their dad. So great stuff. Keep it up, Austin. And when we're moving forward with this interview, I was so excited to have the three of you on because, as I stated and alluded to in the intro of this podcast episode, like I am a diehard daddy's girl. And when I look back on my relationship with my father worked at the mines in Mulberry, and so he was gone like a whole lot. But the times that we were able to spend together, like I cherish it. And people, my sisters, they called me spoiled and all of that because they say he got me whatever I wanted. And I had the privilege of being raised in a 2-parent household. But those times with my father, like I remember our first fishing trip. I remember his wisdom that he used to say to me, because he didn't whoop, he talked. He was like Bill Huxtable. I'm like, I would just prefer to get the whipping versus hear you talk for 2 hours while I'm just standing. Just pop me and let me go about my way. But he wasn't. His disciplinary style was to talk you to death, and it worked. But I just remember those critical moments. Like I don't remember like that lavish stuff. What meant the most to me was his time. And so that's why this podcast episode is so near and dear to me. And I think fathers don't get the due respect that they need, the fathers that are involved. So I just wanted to put that disclaimer in there so you have an ally on this show. Like I ride for my dads. Like if you just tell me you are a dope dad, you are trying, like you need assistance, like this is the episode. So if you haven't tagged someone, I need for you to tag someone right now that you know is a great father or has the potential to be a great father. All right, moving right along to Shaderrick. Shaderrick, tell me about your kids. Tell me the type of dad that you are. Shaderrick.
So I have a
I said it
private.
again, didn't I?
Yeah, yeah.
I am so
It's
sorry.
okay.
I said it again. Okay.
It's gonna take a few times. It's all good. I'm used to it now. Just talk about my daughter. I had my daughter back in school, and he stole that right out my mouth. Time was a big thing that I couldn't give up. I was a student athlete, so a lot of the times I was just busy with meetings, classes, practice, working out. So a lot of the times when I came home, I was drained. I gave her the time to just play around, and what I'm saying. But I wasn't as structural as a dad. So one of the biggest things now that I'm out of school is just trying to spend time with her. You know what I'm saying? When she get out of school, she's just her first year in kindergarten. So just spending time with her once she get out of school. And that's a big thing I've established. Now we get to the point where I'm correcting her about certain things that back then when I came home, I just, whatever she did, I was happy with it because I was just in her presence. So, what I'm saying? I didn't see her do a lot of the little things and getting into things. So now it's like, Daddy, why are you correcting me about this? Why are you saying it? Because I'm starting to be around her a lot more. So that's the biggest thing right now. And I couldn't give her that time then. And I'm trying to pour into her now and get her involved in different stuff, just, as a dad. So
Awesome. I see that you have locks, right?
I do.
You do. I
Yes,
saw it. I'm
ma'am.
like, okay, like, and you are a girl dad. I'm telling you, like my dad, he was this strong guy, but oh my gosh, like his daughters, like we melted his heart. And like I was the last daughter. So my closest sister to me, we're 12 years apart. So my parents pretty much started all over when they had me. And I just remember my dad just letting me, and my dad had a Jerry curl back in the day. He had a Jerry curl back in the day. Like it was a little afro. It wasn't like the real curl. It was the Cedric didn't quite
Yeah, yeah.
curl right. Jerry curl, but he used to let me put like my barrettes in his hair. Like I just remember little silly stuff like that bonded me with my dad. So I'm like, oh my gosh, you have lots. I know your daughter has been all over your head, like back in the day and now. Raymond,
Absolutely.
you are a girl dad as well. So talk to me about your fatherhood style. Talk to me about your kids. What do you love the most about being a father, and how many kids do you have?
Okay, I have three older girls. They're all in their 20s. So for me, I think my girls will be able to say that I'm dad being there for them. I think that's the most rewarding thing for me is to know that when they need me, I can actually show up and be there for them in any kind of fashion that I can. If not, I'll try to find a situation or find a person or whatever it is that they need to help them get through whatever they're going through. So for me, it's very important. I just really enjoy that. I completely enjoy just being there for them when they call me for something or something that we need to do. That's for me. That's my story when it comes to
Yeah.
my girls.
I've talked to several guy friends, and you can chime in on this too. What are some of the disparities that you see with either your friends or the gentleman that you coach? What's the disconnect with an average father being a great father, or a father that doesn't know how to get it right? Like, where do you think that comes from? What's the root of that?
Well, most of the time, I would say the root of it is, did that father have a father in his life? Because as men, we tend to mirror our dad. Okay. So that's one of the things I would like to say too as well with men. As a father, your son mirror you, and your daughter, that's the first that person that she's going another man she's going to pick exactly like you. So I think if he didn't have a dad that was present in his life, without even trying, because there are certain habits that we do that we say what is it going to do when we become a parent, and we end up doing it just like our parents. And like, golly, I'm doing it just like them. And I said I wasn't going to do it, but that's the same thing that happened too with those dads. It's because they don't have that example placed in front of them. They don't know how to do it. But that's where it kind of gets cloudy and murky at, is because of that. For some of them, I think it may be because the mother of their child, they may not have a good relationship. And she may say you can't see the child or you can't be around the child. And for whatever reason that may be. And then after that, he'd be like, well, you know what? You don't want me to see the child. You raise the child by yourself. And he kind of throws his hand up and just, okay, we just do it. You just do it by yourself. So I think those are some of the things that I can attest to that kind of happens when it comes to them actually being involved in their kids' life and being a participant of their kids' life.
Yeah. Shaderrick, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, just to piggyback up on that, there's a lot of times that, like he said, just having an absent dad. A lot of times the dad don't know how to communicate back and forth with you. A lot of the dads we run into in these days are co-parenting dads that's having problems with their used to, ex significant other, and just that communication. And a lot of times, like a big thing we say to the dads, don't make the main thing the main thing. The main thing is the child, at the end of the day. So if you're having a situation with a girl like, you ain't been here or whatever, don't let that get to you, man. Just like, listen, I'm here now. I'm trying to be a great dad now. You know what I'm saying? I'm here for my child, and I'm trying to be the best dad I can be at this moment. So don't let, whatever you not being there, you know what I'm saying, in the beginning stages of the child's life affect now. If you got a chance to do that, we encourage that dad to do that, no matter, how old the child is. Start being involved and get involved in that child's life.
Yeah. Austin?
It's hard to follow those up, man. They hit the nail on the head. Those are some good ones. Those are some really good ones. I think there's a stigma, a real big stigma for men to ask for help. And something I've seen is that when we approach some dads, we'll be like, hey, we have this fatherhood stuff going on to help dads be more involved. And they'll be standing there with their kids. They'll be like, what you mean I need to be more involved? I'm at this event. I worked all this. I do all that. But I think we just need support. Instead of, because it's kind of like Ray said, we have a generation of fatherless individuals trying to figure out what it means to be a father. And you can't do that if you never had that example. And so there's a stigma around it. And I just think support. I think the dads need to know that there's support out there and we're here for you. That's okay. It's not weak to ask for help. It's not, it doesn't make you less of a father or less of a man to seek support. If anything, it makes you more so because you recognize that you're in need. And when you get that help, it's going to help you be a better you for your family. Because if you ain't a good you ain't going to be able to support for your kids.
Yeah.
So,
I love that. I highlighted this comment. This viewer stated true statement about saying we won't be like our parents. I'm grateful to be able to catch it and change those bad habits. I sometimes when I have these conversations, I do lean into the information or the research that has been done that you do mirror what you see, growing up. Because just the other day, like I'll catch myself and I'm like, God, Lee, if I don't sound like my mom, like I literally thought that this would drive me insane. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I sound just like my mother with my kids. Like it is so crazy to me. Like in the psychology behind it, it's mind-boggling to me because even like, I don't know about you, but I even snack like my mom. Like it's like the things that they buy to eat. It's like, why do I even like the same things? It's like, this is absolutely insane. And so, yes, there are a lot of things that we do that we have seen and mirrored in our life as we grow up. But I've seen so many documentaries and I've seen so many conversations because, everybody and their mom has a podcast. Everybody has a platform. Everyone has a voice, and we just have to be careful about who we listen to. But I listen to men who say, well, if you didn't come from a family where you were raised with a great man, then why would you want to do the same thing to your child? And so there's no excuses. Like you show up every single day and you be that man that you're supposed to be for your children. How do you think these men are able to just veer off from the guys who did not see a good example? And as much as they want to be that good example, they can't be. What do you think is the difference between that guy that just can? Like, I didn't have a dad, but guess what? I'm going to be the best dad to my kids. Hands down.
Well, what I would like to say is that they model. So some of the things what they do is they take other men in their life. So it could be a school teacher, or it could be a coach, or it could be a uncle. And they take different things from different men and model how they want to be in their life. So they take that, and that creates a path where they veer up, where they're different in a normal situation. But I do want to say this right here and just kind of back up to your question that you was asking before is, and the reason why it's kind of murky and the reason why we're saying that is because as men, which take us from when we was little people, right? When we were little kids, girls play with dolls. So they learn how to nurture, how to take care of a doll, how to do all of that. Boys play with trucks and play with video games that have shooting and racing and fighting, and what that kind of does is it sets the path to where father don't actually know how to. And I think that's one of the things too that I think Austin said too, is asking the question and getting back to your question is what you just said is because the father don't know how to, because he didn't grow up with that playing with dolls or playing with stuff to actually know how to do that. That's what causes that. So for those guys that do make a good choice and do that, I think they're really just piggybacking off of the men that's in their life. And they're using the men like a little girl be playing with a doll. They're using the men as mirrors to reflect back to them what it is that they need to be a great dad. So that's what I think they may be using that's different than other guys that didn't have it and just move in that same direction as well.
Okay. Do the two of you want to chime in on that one?
I mean, he did a really good job. I think I could speak to the impact of it, because I don't think I could answer better than him, but I could speak to the impact of noticing those role models, because that's breaking generational trauma is what it is. And when you're able to break that generational trauma, you're able to prevent your kids and in the next generation from experiencing that traumas that you experienced. And there's studies that show that based on the amount of trauma you've had growing up in your life, they could project chronic illnesses in your life, your stress, organ failure, things like that. And it can all be attributed to how your brain grew when you were younger and how the examples you saw literally shaped and formed your future. So I agree with Ray 100%. And it's just those people that see models in their life and go after it are really awesome. So
yeah. How did you three come to be involved in these two amazing initiatives? You know, I was reading the information about the two fatherhood initiatives that you guys have, Team Dad and Dad Mode. How did this come about? Like, it wasn't a situation where the organization was just like, hey, Shaderrick, Austin, Raymond, you're leading this, let's go. Like, how did it come about?
Okay, I'll take the lead on that question. How it came about is actually, I've been working at Healthy Start for over 6 years now, and I was working at T.E.A.M, which is Teen Pregnancy Prevention Alliance, and I use Jazz a lot for our speaker at times, so that was one of the things too. But when I found out that the fatherhood program was coming up and there was going to be a fatherhood coach, I was gung-ho. I was already telling my boss, I want that position. No, before you even put it out there, before you even do interviews, before you even do anything, that's mine. And so that's one of the things that she ended up actually giving me that position. And so that's what Team Dad come from. And then we got Dad M.O.D.E onto our organization. Then we needed 2 more fatherhood coaches. And then that's how Shaderrick and Austin came about. So they can explain to you how they made their decision, but that's how they came about as well too.
Awesome. How long has it been around? Like, when was the first initiation?
2 years. 2 years. It's been around 2 years now.
2 years.
2 years.
That's
now.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. What have you seen be the fruits of the labor that you're doing? Like, what's the effect size of your work?
Oh my gosh. I got to share a story with you. And that's where you can kind of get an understanding of what that
I love a good story. I do.
I know you do. So I got a good story for you. So there was a teen dad about the ages of 17 years old. He was in DJJ. People that don't know what DJJ is, the Department of Justice for Juveniles. I think I said it right. I could have said it wrong, but it's DJJ. And what DJJ normally do, if they have kids that are fathers, they will refer them to us for them to go through the 24/7 dad educational based class settings. And what it is with Team Dad, we do one-on-one conversations through those sessions. And one of the things I told him at the beginning of our session, the very first day I met him, I sat in his house at his kitchen table, and we were talking. And right at the end, I said, "Well, I want to tell you this. Every time you see your little boy," and this little boy was 1 year old, and he had a little girl that was about 5 years old. So every time you see a little boy and a little girl, I said, I want you to tell them you love them. I said, when they come in the house, you tell them you love them. When they leave out the house, you tell them you love them. Even while they're here, you tell them you love them. So he was doing that, and it seemed like the second month, I think we're like right about session 8. So it's about 2 months in. He said, "Well, I got something to tell you." I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, I'm listening. I'm ready for it." He said, you won't believe what happened to me." He said, "I was changing my son's diaper. His son that's 1 year old now. I was changing my son's diaper. And while I was changing his diaper, I said, 'I love you.' And his son repeated back to him, 'I love you.' And that's because and he said, 'Man, I wanted to cry. That just melted me.' And that's because he was imparting to his son that he loved him. So just understanding the impact that it's going to have, because in his life, his dad wasn't there. So think about the impact that he's creating for his son, and the change of the situation just by saying, 'I love you.' And he said it so much to his 1 year old son, though, to say, 'I love you' back. And that's one of the fruits of the labor that I think has really enriched me from doing it, to give back to the community.
Yeah. I, listen, I'm a sucker for that. Like I was just on YouTube. It wasn't YouTube. I was on TikTok, but they were just saying this. This is like a sidebar. But when you're saying like his son that wasn't even 1 years old, repeated that back to him. Kids are so amazing. Like if you understand like the development of kids, but there was like this baby that was like 5 months old, and he was kind of repeating. It was in sounds, but it sounded just like what someone was saying. And I can't remember the phrase that the little sister was trying to get him to say, but he literally said it. And I was like, these new babies, these COVID babies are just different. They are made different. I don't know what it is, but I'm like, what in the world am I watching? Like this baby is literally talking. Like, what's going on? Shaderrick, what are some experiences or some things, highlights that with you doing this work, it has just really blessed you, like things that just stick out to you, and you're like, I'm doing this work and it's making a difference.
Just to chime back and go back, how I got into this job, I was just looking around and I was just trying to find something non-physical or trying to use my degree. Stumbled upon fatherhood coach. I'm like, what is this? I'm trying to get involved now. And I applied and they took me on. And I'm appreciative of it. I've been working here now a month and a half. But just the biggest thing right now is outreach and getting people to know about Team Dad and Dad M.O.D.E. A lot of people don't know about the program. I think the biggest thing just going to all these back to school events is like, what is this? Dad's just opening their eyes like Team Dad, just having our shirts on, our apparel and our tents. And they just like very surprised to even hear something like that. And that's the biggest thing. They coming up and just like, what is this? You know what I'm saying? So I think that's just the biggest impact so far for me,
Yeah.
just being here month and a half, just seeing dads be very surprised by the program, because I was myself. I never seen anything for dads, and I wish I could have had something like this in school just to help me. But as myself, I'm learning a lot from Ray as a dad, and I'm growing a lot through the program myself. We're also trying to facilitate to help dads be better dads at the same time. So I'm grateful to be here.
Yeah, that's amazing. Like I love, yeah, dope dads just really, they do it for me because I see the effect that they have on kids every single day. Um I'll go and bow down and just share my personal story after Austin tells me. What's the highlight of you doing this magnificent work that you do?
Just seeing the look on dads' faces when they realize that there's support, that there's people there that care for them. But yeah, to backtrack, I actually went through the program. So I finished the program, and Ray told me about this opportunity, and I jumped at it in any opportunity, because I can tell you, having gone through this program, I'm a better father, I'm a better human than I would have been if I had not have been. It opens your eyes to topics that you wouldn't necessarily think about. It lays ground rules for boundaries for yourself, for your life, for your co-parent, for your children. It gives you the keys you need to be a successful father.
Yeah.
And I can guarantee you that it doesn't matter if you had a great upbringing, if you had a bad upbringing. I can guarantee you will get something out of this program.
Yeah.
I went through it. I'm super passionate about this, and it's just the look on fathers' faces that makes it for me.
Yeah.
So, because I mean, it's not very often that, and it's sad, but it's not very often you hear someone tell a father that, hey man, I'm there for you. We're here for the dads. Nothing against mothers. Look, man, we need y'all. We need y'all. You're awesome. You're absolutely incredible. We love everything you do, and the sacrifice is just I can't fathom it. But dads, we're falling beneath the cracks, and we want to be here to pick y'all up. So and that's why we're here. So that's I look. I can get a TED talk going with this. I go all day.
That's what I want you to do, and I love it.
Give me a pulpit. Let's go. Let's go.
I love it, and that is actually what I was gonna segue into, because oh my gosh, like this topic, I love it too. I can talk about it, all the time, and I can talk about it from the perspective of I'm not necessarily a proponent. I think people feel like you have to be on this side or that side. I am just about taking care of these kids. Like when I used to talk about co-parenting all the time, like I don't talk about it as much as I used to, because at some point I felt like I was failing at it. But I think that's how you will feel with parenthood anyway. Like it's not always going to be roses and sunshine and you feel like you're going to get a golden star for parenting today. It's not that. And I started to beat myself up about like the way that my son's father and I, like, we started like lacking in that communication and working together. And it's like, this is not what I set out for. This is not the plan. Get back on the plan, dude. Like, this is not what we said we were going to do. And one of the things I used to always tell him, I would end our conversations with this. I would say, you and I need to do whatever it is we need to do to make these boys the best gentlemen that they can be in this world. So we got to figure out what that looks like. But that is our task as their parents. We got to make this work. And so when I hear these discussions about, and I know we're not even talking about this, about, well, if he's not going to be there, then I'm definitely going to put him on child support, I'm going to make it. And I'm like, child support, yes, because the child definitely has to be taken care of. But that emotional part of your child is, to me, the most important part, because I know that, with prayer, I believe that prayer and works together will make some things happen. I firmly believe it because I've lived it. But I think that if we spent more time coming together to try to figure out how to come together and be great parents for our kids, that's where we're going to see and where we're going to reap the benefit from them, whether they give back to us or, more importantly, they give back out to themselves and the community, because we are the precursors to the humans that they're going to be. And I just think that is my most important role. I don't care what title I wear, but the title of being a parent is my most important title to me. And so when you hear the flack that fathers get, like, what's your rebuttal? I think, because I used to just be on the pillar of understanding, yes, but I used to be like, you know what? I can't just decide if I want to come and get my child this weekend. My child is with me. I can't escape. So it's like, you coming every other weekend, like, dude, what else are you doing? So I used to kind of do that, but then it's like, I will bring them to you. I will do this. I would do that. And so I'm not an excuses person. So what do you do? And what do you say to people who don't give excuses for dads, or who just say, this is what you're supposed to do, or you're not a good dad. You're not man enough if you're not doing these things. Like, what do you say? Because you're coaching men through this. What do you say?
Ooh, my mic's on. I love this topic. This is great.
Come on, Austin.
Yes. No, I'm excited because I've had a difficult co-parenting situation. I'm not going to go too in depth with it, but there's a point where there was a 4-month period where I didn't know where my daughter was, and I didn't have any communication or anything with her, So big on faith, big on prayer, because faith is not an emotion. It's a choice you make. You got to choose to have faith every day. Even when it's hard. But to the other part about what do we tell people that with all of that, I think it's not our place to have an opinion on that. And obviously, if somebody feels enough to talk about it outwardly, that maybe they need to look inward. You know, um, I could tell you as a father, there is nothing I would give. I don't know what I could do if I could see my children every weekend. I would. If I could have my kid, like, that is such a blessing to be able to have your child. And for some people, the down fathers, I just look at them. I say, I don't even say anything because it's not my place to tell them. Because at the end of the day, all I can do is take care of me. All I can take care of Austin. And when Austin's doing everything Austin can do, when Austin's providing for his kids emotionally, when I'm protecting my kids, when I'm leading my family, those other opinions don't matter. And to the people who do have issues with fathers, I apologize. But let me tell you, for every not so great father, that there is multitudes more that literally just want to hold their kid when they go to bed at night.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say. I'm sorry, y'all. Like I said, I get talking. I'm gonna sit back.
No, that's what we want to hear. Like that's what needs to be stated. Shaderrick, what's your comeback to that? What do you say?
I think the biggest thing, those people who have those opinions on the father, just if you feel like you're a better father or you can be a help to that father, give them some positive encouragement. Some of the things we go over in our book, I was just reading on, just to get a top father some information on how to be involved in that child's life, like just one day a week. You might get them on weekends or every other weekend, but find some time one day a week, whether you can take them to a school or whether you can take them to practice or do something like that, just to be a little bit more involved, to show that you're not just coming on weekends just because oh, I got this weekend, and that's something that's wrote in in the law, or however that y'all set that up. So just the father, just encourage him instead of put him down. A lot of times he need ample encouragement. You know what I'm saying? One time is not enough. He just gonna be like, oh, he said that, but he ain't serious. You know what I'm saying? So just encourage him instead of putting him down, and keep encouraging him, because a lot of times that's what dad needs, man. A lot of times it's a situation where they bumping heads with the parent, the other parent of the child, and they rather not deal with it. So they end up not being participant in the child's life. So that's the biggest thing.
Yeah. Raymond, what would you say, Ray?
Well, I would like to say this because it is difficult. Even in my family, I have sisters. You know what I mean? Are the dad's not there like they need to be, and that's difficult. It's difficult, and we're not taking anything from that. Like Austin said, he apologized. That's difficult on a woman, knowing that the sole brunt of the responsibility of that child falls on their lap. And one of the things I would like to say to that, though, is that hopefully that woman can understand that, first of all, if you didn't have a dad, second of all, sometimes as men, not knowing how to makes us vulnerable, so we won't. And that vulnerability of not knowing how to do it and not even doing the research to figure out how to do it, or not even looking at people around you to get examples on how to do it, causes for that to cause for us to be vulnerable in that situation. Sometimes people don't like being vulnerable. You like to try to mask your vulnerability, especially as men, you want to mask your vulnerability because you're afraid of who you're going to be vulnerable around. But I do understand what you're saying. When there are women that do have that situation on their hands where they have to hold the brunt of it. But if I was just telling them just to be patient, you know what I mean? And if you do get them one or two times, just be glad. It's unfortunate to say that. But if they do get them one or two times, just be glad that they got them one or two times. Because the whole idea is just to get the dads involved into the child's life. And that's one of the great things about our program that we have here with Team Dad and Dad Mode, is that's what it's designed to do. Our design is to make sure dads are responsible, attentive, and very active and hands-on in their child's life. And
Yeah.
so that's the reason why with our program, both of them, the one-on-one session or the group session with Dad Mode, is designed to make sure those dads are present. You have to be present. You're right. It is an emotional component. It's not so much the money is very beneficial and helpful. You know what I mean? But it's the emotional component that your child, your little boy or little girl is going to need from their dad, and you understand that. So I would definitely tell a young lady that may be going through that situation. I understand what that looked like. I have taught. I got sisters, so I know how that feel. I know what they're saying. But just whatever there's, it's just if there's anything, if the child dad do get them one or two times, just let that go. You don't have to state the fact. You know what I mean? Hey, you just get them just one or two. You don't have to state the fact. We know the fact. You know what I mean? You know the fact. You know what you are doing. You know what you're the brunt that you're taking on. Just when you get the child, I'm glad you got the child. You don't even have to say anything. Matter of fact, if you don't want to say anything, just okay, here you go. Just hand the child off. Just a nice handoff. You know what I mean? Like the penguins say, smile and wave, boys. No, or Madagascar, smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So that's all you want to. That's all you want to be able to do. You know what I mean? So just if I could tell them, just kind of hold back those emotions, hold them back, and just let the child off easy.
Okay. So if do you get a lot of teen dads that reach out to your for you to help with them? Do you get a lot of teen dads?
DJJ actually refer teen dads to us. So we don't like get teen dads to come to us. Is because they're part of DJJ and they have a child or a child on the way, and then they refer them to talk to us to become better dads. Because most of the time, kids that are in DJJ, especially boys, because that's all we're talking to are young men and men. Um, they don't have that example of a father in their life. I mean, for every one of the boys that we have talked to, have not had a father in their life. Not
Yeah.
saying that's for all, but the majority of them experience that, and because of that, it's going to be behavior problems. Because they say when the dad is not in your life, the child is going to have behavior problems, going to have school problems, going to have problems getting the grades, going to spend more time in jail. All of that increased just because the dad not is involved in that child life in some fashion or another. So that's how we actually get the teen dads.
Gotcha. If a dad wanted to reach out to you, because I heard you say something, Raymond, I think you said it. Actually, all three of you gentlemen have said it in some form or fashion where you just say, dads need support too. And I truly believe that like you guys do, you bear the brunt of being the provider, like you're supposed to be the protector. You're supposed to be the strength of the unit. But at the end of the day, you guys need a support system as well. And so, how do you make it welcoming for dads who just are so tough and this tough exterior and they don't know how to reach out to someone and say they need help? What advice would you give them, and then what services do you offer them?
Okay, what I would say is the advice that we definitely try to do to reach out there. Hey, we just a session just to get together. We're just talking. We're talking, and that's what when we had our first Dad Mode meeting. One of the dads was
What does that atmosphere look like? Because I'm gonna tell you, when women get together, we brunching, we're our aesthetic has to be right. Like women got this down pat. And we want to teach the guys how to do this, but apples, oranges. So what does it look like, Raymond? If I have a guy, I send him to you. Look, he needs a father to talk to. What does that look like? Are y'all smoking cigars? What does it look like? What are y'all doing? Y'all shooting pool? What are you doing?
Great question, and I'm glad you asked that. So what it is that we're doing is we don't do all the things, the shenanigans that the women do. We don't. You know what I
I'm
mean?
just messing with you, right?
No, and I know I got you. But women do know how to put on the party. Now I ain't gonna lie on that. Now I'm not gonna lie on that. But it's basically we get together with a group of men. It's just a group of men coming together inside. We normally find a space that will allow us to use their space. We get together inside of that space and we just chat. We're able to chat and be open with each other, because that's one of the things that one of the dads was saying. He said, "Man, I don't hang out anymore. So my friends like he was saying, when he was young, his friends was like really huge. He like had a bunch of friends. But then as he got older, his friends shrank down because his lifestyle changed. So the things that his friends are doing, he's not doing anymore. He's just coming straight home. So his friends have shrank down. He said, I just want to come to this right hand session. So if another man say he got his sons or daughter going out, they want to do something. Hey man, let's do something together. You know what I mean? I just want to do something together with my boys. You know what I mean? And so that's how it looks like. It's actually empowering dads to intermingle with each other. Because that's one of the things that men do is we don't communicate a lot. Okay. We don't use a lot of words, and we're not very expressive with our feelings. We like to hide our feelings as if no one could see them. And so by being in a part of our program, it allows for dads just to be a little bit not as uptight, because here's the thing with men, when a bunch of men get in the group and one person share an idea and that idea may hit home, you start to rock a little bit and think about it. Then after a while, you're going to want to share something as well, because that one man don't share something. So you're going to want to share something. And what they do, that creates an environment where they can be vulnerable and talk and don't worry about it going out to anybody else, but they talk and learn what it takes to be a man, what it is to be a man. One of the first things that our session deals with in the 24/7 Dad book is deals with what is your family history. And then the next section that week 2 deals with is what it takes to be a man. You know what I mean? So it hits right home, right there, and get right into that conversation. So now you engage in that conversation, getting all to speak and really engage in what that topic is that you're talking about. And I think that's so powerful for men, because we got to have that place where we can feel vulnerable, feel safe to express what we're feeling, to express what we're going through. And that totally helps us out, and that totally transforms us a lot too when that happens.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Someone asked, and I put it on the screen, it says, would they accept other men outside of the DJJ?
Absolutely, we would. We are trying to go, me, Shaderrick, and Austin, we are marketing everywhere. We're going to daycares, we're going to hospitals, we're going, if we see you in the grocery store, you talk about it. We see you in a restaurant, you talk about it. Just because you see the Team Dad shirt, you talk to us about it, we're going to start a whole conversation. You may not even want that conversation. You may not even want that that's coming at you, but we're going to bring it up, because that's the idea that we want to do. We want to be able to include every man. Team Dad is only for men. Let me explain what Team Dad is so everybody get a clear understanding. Team Dad is for men that have a child from 0 to 3, and they have to be a part of Healthy Start in-home visitor program. The mother or the child have to be a part of Healthy Start in-home visitor program. Okay, so if that child is over 3, when they go to 4 to 18, they can come to us, and we can still do our program. That's when we do Dad Mode. Dad Mode is more of a group session. Okay, so one is for one-on-one session, and the other one is group session.
Okay. They say, how do we get them your information? And so, of course, I will definitely leave that in the comment section. And if you guys are able to type it, you can type your information in the comment section as well. I do want to say, you said you would be at the grocery stores. You will be everywhere. You guys have an open invite. I really want you guys to come and set up and be a vendor at my podcast event on November 9th, if you guys are available. It will be in Lakeland. I typically at this event have between 10 to 11 vendors. Of course, there's a live studio audience. So like what we're doing right now, it will be on a main stage, live studio audience, live DJ, past guests that I've had on my podcast, but just to be in an environment where people who may not know about Team Dad and Dad Mode, I would love for you guys to come and set up like think big, like vendor space. You have your tablecloth, you have like your sign, your shirts, and you're just able to pour into women and men who are there, so that the word gets out. I really want to give you guys as much space with this platform as I possibly can from the Jazzie Conversations with Jazz podcast, just because I believe so much in your mission. And I've wanted to see things like this more so in the community, like, to be quite honest with you. And I always felt that it wouldn't look right or feel right coming from a female, because men are going to gravitate to other men. So you 3 men, I'm so glad to see that you are creating this space where where men are welcome, and you're teaching them things, you're giving them different sessions. Shaderrick, when you do the sessions, are you an instructor?
So yeah, I'll be a facilitator for the 24-hour curriculum.
So you facilitate this. What's one of your favorite sessions that you cannot wait to
Just
get to? Because I heard Raymond talk about two. I heard Austin say I think he was in session 8. Like, what's your favorite session? You're like, I cannot wait until we get to this one.
okay, just going through the book, just training for being a facilitator. One of the biggest one is mental health. The mental health, just talk about just make sure you have yourself together before you can be an effective dad. And it just talks about how dads, health is important as well. To have that mental health. So making sure you go out and exercise, what I'm saying, showing that you are fit dad, showing that you are a strong dad. So just getting out there, exercising helps you, build that mental health.
I can't
So that's one of
escape it.
my
I'm
favorite
talking
sessions so
about
far. And
team.
I'm
I'm
trying to get
talking
back
about
fit.
dad
After
mode and
football, you
team
want to take
dad, and we don't got on exercising again. I just need to go to the gym because I can't escape this topic. I don't care where I go. I just cannot escape it.
we all need a little gym. We all need a little gym.
I did not think we were going to be talking about exercising on this podcast, but that just comes to show you God's trying to tell you something. But that's awesome. Austin, what was your favorite module? Look at Vincent laughing. I'm gonna put you up here because I just talked to Vincent, who's like this nutritious guru, like sculpted body guru, who's just so into fitness. I was talking to him actually yesterday about counting calories, about how I'm not about that life, but he is. So that's why I'm putting his comment on the screen. But Austin, what was your favorite module?
My favorite was Dad's M.O.D.E. I got a lot out of all the modules, but Dad's M.O.D.E. really hit home for me. In the main part of that lesson is to leave work at work. You leave your problems from work at the door of the house, because your home's supposed to be your safe space, and you can't be bringing any of that negative energy in and putting that on your family, because your kids are living lives, your spouse is working hard. You've got a whole life over there, and it's not worth bringing that extra negative energy in there that might ruin their time. That may snowball into other issues, and to just really make your home your safe space. And that's probably one of the biggest things for me. So
Yeah. So what I've heard from this episode is that there definitely should not be a boundary to great parenting and to being a great father. Coming back from situations like divorces, co-parenting, whether it's an ideal co-parenting situation or whether it's not, you reach down and you dig deep for your kids. They're your seeds. They're your predecessors, not predecessors, but they're the ones who are going to carry your legacy. And so, men, tap in to this group, like tap into Team Dad, tap into Dad Mode. Raymond, Shaderrick, Austin are all great resources for you. They've explained, going through the process. They've explained how much the process has meant to them, the results of the process, because we love results. We're in like a fast time society. We want a quick fix, but it's not necessarily a quick fix. It's all about you doing what you need to do for your children. I want to talk to you about vision. Because Raymond, I've heard you speak, and when you speak very passionately. You just go there, right? Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? I know Shaderrick and Austin, y'all know what I'm talking about, right? So, so tell me what your vision is for these two initiatives. Like how far can you see it going?
What I can see going when it comes to vision is one of the things that I see for his vision is for every man in Polk County, and we're just talking Polk County because Polk County is where we can hit both of the initiatives at one time. Every man in Polk County to either hear about us or know about us. That's every man in Polk County need to hear about us and know about it. I know that's a grand vision. I know that's a big vision, but that's what we out here trying to do. And one of the things we like to say is that our main word for this year, we only got one word that we got for this year: marketing. That's our one word. Everything we do is marketing, 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 so that people and the community can know that we're here, and we really want them to be able to know that we're here to help them out in every way possible. And one of the things I do want to touch on too, Jazz, is that we're not only here for men just to go through sessions, but even in things, other situations they may need help in. And I want to share this real fast with you. Quick story. There was one dad that I was doing the Team Dad session with, and he asked, man, I wonder, could I get WIC? So what I did, called the WIC company. They gave me the total for what is the income for each level, whatever you can receive with your child and all that. Called him back. He called him up, got it up. He said, man, guess what, man? Because he was the sole custody of his daughter. He said, guess what, man? He said, man, I got WIC, man. I got it, bro. He said, man, thank you so much, man. And it's simple as just getting WIC, simple call that he didn't know or didn't have an understanding about. I just made that call. So I want men to know, and Shaderrick and ℼ𝕨 can attest to this. Mm-hmm. We want to help them out in every area possible. You know what I mean? If it's something that we can help them out, we want to be able to point them in the right direction. We're not just here just to talk about the sessions, you know what I mean? But we're here to help you in every area of your life, you know what I mean? Because we want you to be a strong man. And can I say this really fast? I just want to say this really quick. Really fast. When you say a vision, all right, I think it's very important that men have vision for their lives and for their family. And when you come out the vision, when you come to being a provider has two elements to it. You're providing the financial part and you're providing the emotional part. There's two elements to providing. There's two elements to protecting. You're protecting your family and you're protecting the vision of your family. Or if you don't have a family, you just have your kids, the vision of your kids. So we want to just make sure that when men think about it, and we talk about vision, that's what it is. We want to reach every man in Polk County. Every man.
Every man.
I kind of went long there, Jazz, but
no, look, people need to hear that passion, because when you do work like this, it has to be passion work. It has to be purpose work. So I want to hear all of it. So don't spare any emotion or feeling with it, because you never know what that's going to ignite the next person to do. I'm gonna put that last comment back up in just a second. But Shaderrick, I want you to tell me what's your vision for it?
A lot like Ray, my vision is just to have more involved dads. So the dads that do come through the program, and we also just to touch back on some things, we'll have events. So me and Ray and ℼ𝕨 get in the office, just brainstorm about stuff. And one of the biggest things is the dads we do impact, just to keep having them show up. So we'll be throwing events like our fishing event we have coming up in November. The following weekend, on the 16th, we'll have Florida Fish and Wildlife come out and host a fishing event for the dads. Just having those dads we do impact to keep coming out and showing that we still are there for them, and we still be throwing things for dads to, just to show dads, man, we're here for them.
Yeah. ℼ𝕨, what's your vision?
Their vision is my vision. We're a team, man. Look, whatever they want to get done, we gonna get it done.
We're gonna get it.
Oh yeah. Everybody gonna know who we are everywhere. And if
I love that.
You're gonna find out.
You're gonna find out. Listen, absolutely. Look, I'm gonna put this this comment back up from Dr. Vincent Miller. He stated this was really awesome. He said, if he's hearing correctly, what about kids without fathers? How do you reach them as well in your groups? Where is the home location? And where can we send donations? Have you thought about partnering with someone?
Absolutely, we have thought about partnering. If you want to be a partner with us, you can reach us at Healthy Start, and just Google Healthy Start Polk County. You'll see us there. You can reach me at rclay@healthystart.hhp.org. You can reach Austin at ℕ𝕖𝕨 healthystart.hhp.org. Or Shaderrick, you can reach him at S. Bradford at Healthy Start ℕ𝕖𝕨.org as well too. We would love to partner, but one of the programs that we do have here, and you asked a question about kids who don't have fathers, we do have a program here called which is Teen Pregnancy Prevention Alliance, and it deals with those kids. And if you know of any kids that may not have a father or just actually need to be impacted, we can reach out to them and get them involved with our TEPA program. And the TEPA program is all about making leaders. And they have a group called Youth Leadership Team. Youth Leadership Team, and that's a great program for those kids to be able to see some mentors around them, to kind of hug on them and love on them while they're experiencing that as well too. So we do have that program for that. As for our program, only deals with men, and you can be a young boy with a child or older man with a child, but we only deal with men. But we do have a program here that directly work with those type of teens.
Love it. I love it. I thank you so much for, taking your time out of this evening. You've given me like an hour of your time, and I truly appreciate it. Like, this conversation really could go on and on. I don't know what you thought you were expecting when I know probably Ray pitched it to you. Like, we got to go on this podcast. Like, she's doing probably good things like this jazz. Like, and I can already hear it. Like, I did hear it. I want to part of the conversation, but I just, I know enough about you, Ray. And I appreciate you for convincing these two young men to join you on this podcast to talk about the vision, the mission of the hard work that you are doing, this endearing work, this important and necessary work. When we talk about doing passion work, doing purpose work, this is what it's all about. And you have something here. You have something here that is needed, not only in Polk County, but in the whole world. In the whole world, Craig. You hear what I'm saying? Like, it is needed. It's a global initiative that is needed. And I wanted to say, if I have questioned, the purpose of what I do, which is to spotlight the power of the comeback. I was telling Ray, I definitely want to do this show, with you. My platform is to spotlight the power of the comeback and for people to share what they've been through so that others can be motivated to know that they don't have to give up, that you don't give up, because you can come back from anything. And I just believe that you can come back from anything with God, the right resources, knowing how to use those resources effectively and putting in the necessary work. I feel that you can come back from every single thing. And definitely in fatherhood, I know that you guys are overcoming some things. You guys carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. And sometimes, a lot of the times, you don't have anyone to share that with, and you just carry it. And it bottles up and it festers. And what you guys are doing is you're offering fathers the opportunity to not only just talk amongst other men who have like similarities, like who are trying to get this fatherhood thing right, so that their kids won't have to experience, things that they may have experienced in the past. And so I am so grateful for what you guys have done for me on this podcast episode. But when Vincent said that comment, and just because I know the type of person that Vincent is very connected, and he's very admirable when it comes to him wanting to support something. So if my podcast is the catalyst to seek or to get you resources that you need to grow these two initiatives, I'm just blessed to be able to be a blessing to you. And so I hope that those of you who are watching, I hope you find it in your hearts, send dads that need their services to these gentlemen, because they will definitely help them. And it's just going to be an initiative that will break generational curses. So definitely do that. Like, Tanya Richardson just checked in. Where you been at, girl? We needed you at the top of the hour. She got your information. She got your information. She says, check them out at www.healthystart. Is that hhp.org. And then she's giving specific email addresses, etc. You can also contact them at 863-534-9224. Again, that number is 863-534-9224. And so I really, really, really appreciate you guys. Tanya, thank you so much for tuning in, and definitely I will be sharing the word. You definitely have an open invite to my event on November 9th. If you already don't have an event planned for the boys and the men, I need for y'all to be at this event.
Hey, we at
Come
the event.
afterwards, come
We at
before.
the
Y'all
event.
come on.
Hey, we at the event. November 9th, lock us in. Lock us in. We there.
Locked in. That's what I love to hear. That's what I love to hear. Any final words that you guys want to say before we end this positive episode for episode 131?
Okay, I would like to say, go ahead. No, you go ahead. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead, brother.
No, I just want to thank you for allowing us to be on this platform and just spread the word
Absolutely.
about Team Dad and Dad M.O.D.E program. And we thankful to have you, and we will be there at your event. And thank you.
I appreciate that. And you guys have an open invite. Like if anybody has an open invite, you do. And I mean that on my show, here on this podcast, and also at the event as well. So anytime you ever want to share information, just let me know. Austin.
Your situation does not define you. I think that's something that's throughout fatherhood is rung true for me, and I really hope it resonates with you. Because just because you're having a hard time now, just because it may be bleak right now, it won't always be that way. You know, in the better days on the horizon. So
yeah.
Never give up on your kids. Never.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Ray?
Well, I would definitely like to tell Dad on this comeback story that she has here, that no matter if you're not in your child's life, okay, you may not be participating, you may not be going there like you should, you may not be active in their life. I want you to know that you can get back active in their child's life, no matter if it takes simple one-day calling or one day communicate with the mother to see if you can call, or one day communicate with the mother to see if you can see the child. But it's just a simple steps that you need to take to get back to being active and participant in your child's life. And those that are participant and active in their child's life, we want to commend you and say, good job. Good job on doing that, because that's one of the things our kids definitely need. Also, we want to thank Jazz as well for giving us a shout out, to give us a platform to be able to tell you guys more about what our two fatherhood initiatives, Team Dad and Dad M.O.D.E, actually represents and what we're trying to do into our community. So thank you so much, Jazz. And like we say, lock us in on November 9th. We ready to go. We just got some new banners made. You know what I mean? We got a table. We ready. We ready.
Listen, I cannot wait. I cannot wait. As soon as I see that lime green, I'll be like, they're here. Dun, 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 dun. Get y'all some cakes, some crowns, all that good stuff. I got y'all, but it has been a definite pleasure. Thank you so much. Anytime you guys want to come on, Austin, Shaderrick, Raymond, you know, this is gonna be a second home for you guys. Like, you can even bring on like some dads if they want to give testimonials. I really would love to be a catalyst to seeing this initiative grow. So anything that I can do to support you with this platform, just let me know. I'm a phone call away, a text away. Y'all have my email address now. So just reach out to me and I got you. So I appreciate it. So thank you so much for being on this podcast episode. I greatly appreciate it. You guys who are tuned in, whether it be on your favorite podcast platform, YouTube, Facebook, or IG Live, thank you so much for tuning in to episode 131 of the Jazzie Conversations with Jazz podcast. Make sure you reach out to Austin, Shaderrick, and Ray. They will definitely connect you to the resources that you need. If you are in need of bettering your skills as a father, you need an organization to connect to that will help you, that will motivate you, that will encourage you, and that will give you the resources needed for you to be a better father, the best father that you can be. Reach out to them. Team Dad and Dad M.O.D.E will definitely assist you. With my Jazzie crew, you know that it's very simple. All I need for you to do, you want to be a part of my Jazzie crew, all you got to do is subscribe to the podcast on my social media platforms, IG, Facebook, YouTube, and your favorite podcast platform at Jazzie Conversations with Jazz. That's Jazzie Conversations with Jazz, and all gold diggers are welcome. That's GOAL diggers are welcome. So until next time, See you next Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for episode 132. Remember, you can come back from anything with God, the right resources, your willingness to use those resources effectively, and your willingness to do the necessary work. See you guys next Monday. Bye, Austin. Bye, Shaderrick. Bye, Ray.
See you later, Jazz.
I messed your name up so royal, Shaderrick. I'm sorry. Like, I'm just going to see Shaderrick all night. Like, I messed his name up. Oh,
There
hey,
you go, little mama.
how are you? Oh my gosh, you are beautiful. That is a wonderful way to end this episode. Go get your barrettes and let's go play hair with daddy. Go play salon with daddy. I will see you guys later. Y'all have a good evening. Enjoy y'all kids because you guys are fantastic dads. Thank you for being you. We appreciate you. Have a good night.
All right, bye-bye.